Okay. Large crowds of inebriated young partygoers spilling into the streets like a kicked-over barrel of monkeys. That is what many people envision when they hear the words Mardi Gras. The perception of Mardi Gras today is far from where it began. I was amazed to learn that the history of Mardi Gras runs as deep as the Mississippi River does long. While I was doing the research for this paper, I learned 3 very important things. First, Mardi Gras originated in the 15th century. It had nothing to do with the Catholic religion, and it all began in Rome. Second, I learned that Mardi Gras migrated from Rome to France before it made its journey to New Orleans. And thirdly, I learned that New Orleans was not the first stop in America Mardi Gras took. It actually started in Mobile, Alabama. Let's begin. According to realtruth.com, Mardi Gras began in the medieval times, 15th century, in Rome. While reading Legends of the Pagans.com, I discovered that the holiday actually was a spring fertility festival. It was full of debaucherous acts and a lot of sinning. According to History.com, at the time that this festival was popular, Catholics started moving into the regions and they were pushing out the pagan leaders. So, once the pagan leaders were pushed out, they had a problem. They had all of these pagans who they now needed to convert to Catholicism. Well, abolishing their debaucherous holiday is not the way to get people to convert to your new religion. So instead, the Catholic figureheads decided that they would just incorporate Mardi Gras into their holidays. They decided to put the holiday right before Lent. Now, Lent, according to Catholic.org, is 40 days of repentment. You basically give up something that you enjoy having and do without it for 40 days to repent for all the sinning that you have done. So what better to lead up to this 40-day sacrifice than a 2-week debaucherous holiday? So Catholicism put the pagan festival right after Lent. Lent begins on Ash Wednesday and ends on Easter. The last day of Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesday, so they're actually sandwiched together. Catholics started spreading the religion through other places in Europe, and along with it went the Mardi Gras festival. It spread into regions like France, and at the time that this all happened, there was a French explorer by the name of Bienville. He decided to set sail and find some new land to colonize. According to NOLA.org, the first land he came in contact with was known now as Mobile, Alabama. He called it Pointe de Mardi Gras because the day he sailed and found it was actually the eve of Mardi Gras back in Europe. In 1702, Pointe de Mardi Gras was colonized and renamed Fort Louis de Louisiane. And exactly 1 year later, the first American Mardi Gras festival occurred in Mobile, Alabama. Now, by the 1800s, Bienville had moved to New Orleans. He moved the capital to New Orleans. That happened in 1718. And then by the 1800s, the event had turned into a meandering through the streets. It was unofficial, nothing had been documented, but large groups of people would dress in elaborate costumes. They would go by foot, carriage, or even horseback. And they would have masks and beads and be playing instruments, and they meandered through the streets. According to NewOrleansOnline.com, the first official Mardi Gras parade occurred in 1837. That one was documented. You know, I looked up the parade schedule for 2016, this past March, and they currently have 57 different parades that go on in the 2 weeks that Mardi Gras encompasses. Mardi Gras certainly has evolved into a very grand event. So I would like to leave you today to refresh your memory with the things that we discussed here. There were 3 key points. First, Mardi Gras had nothing to do with Catholicism. It was a pagan holiday, and it began in 15th century Rome. Second, Bienville had a great influence by bringing Mardi Gras to America. And he landed first in Mobile, where the first Mardi Gras celebration occurred. Lastly, the colonization of New Orleans was in the French Quarter, and the Mardi Gras parade became the annual event there. From the debaucherous pagan festival to the intoxicated monkeys on Bourbon Street, Mardi Gras certainly has taken a very long journey. Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes.
Have you ever been to Mardi Gras?
Yes. I lived in New Orleans for a very brief time, and I experienced 2 Mardi Gras, actually. That's actually 3. I had moved back home a year before, home being Florida. And a year later, Katrina hit New Orleans, and that happened in October. So the following March was the first Mardi Gras after Katrina. I attended that one, as it had to have been my favorite.
Very cool.
Are there any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for your time.